which I just want to bet everyone or make everyone, dare everyone, there we not bet, dare everyone to say that 10 times fast.
Urara Meirochou, Urara Meirochou, Urara Meirochou, Urara Meirochou.
That was 10 times.
I was about to say, I could keep going. I like imitate JoJo's like sound effects all the Gentlemen, it is I, your host, Saros Canol, otherwise known as Craigus von Maximus III, twice removed, and this is the Annie Chat Box episode 6. But first, I must let you all know in advance, it has been quite some time since we've last talked to you. We've graced your ears with our docile tones and our lovely voices. Well, it seems as though a curse has fallen upon our graceful podcast. With that being said, we feel as though we've gotten through the worst of it. Some of us have had a little we've curses that plague the body, some that cursed our PCs, what have you. We're finally through all of that. So with that being said, we should be able to press on at 110% right into the weekly schedule. With that being said, as always, you can find our socials on Twitter and the emails and the YouTubes. YouTube is obviously going to, if you're sub to it, if not, it will be posted on the Facebooks and Twitters. The Twitter obviously being twitter.com/ or // I can't remember off the top of my head, is the Annie Chat Box. The email account is, let's see here, anychatmail@gmail.com. Cass, did I get that right? Are we good?
You're good.
Good. All right. And with that being said, with the social links out of the way, let's get down to the hosts. As always, she does everything under the sun. The producer / seducer, Cassie.
Speaking of seducer, when you said let's get down, I was like, down and dirty? Question mark?
Nah, man. Party down. We gotta party down. Alright. As always, the precious cinnamon roll of the group, Miss Cammy.
Aww, thank you so much for saying that, desu yo. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. This is Cammy. Happy to have you here.
Right on. And finally, rounding out this squad, the most gentleman of us all. He makes us look bad. Sarah Joe Starson.
Hello. Glad to be back on the podcast. You seem to like me from last episode, so back again.
We thought you could stick around.
I was about to say, you balance us out. We thought we'd be like, man, we appreciate his opinions and what he's got to say. Now, as you all know, the winter season of anime has graced us at the beginning of January, and we're about 3-4 weeks into our animes that we've been assigned by the producer / seducer, Cassie. Cass, do you want to explain how you assigned us that, or shall we just dive straight in?
We'll take a moment to explain it. Also explain exactly what we're going to be doing here today. So basically, everybody gave me a list of their top, well, in Craig's case, he gave me a list from 1 to 28 or something of the...
I ranked them all.
1 to 20 something, and then I got a few from Cammy and John and kind of made do with that, and basically tried to do my very best to randomly assign everybody their favorites from this season, or most anticipated, as it were. That being said, each of us were assigned 5 different shows that we had to keep up with weekly, and in this episode, we're going to be deciding whether we want to proverbially, how do you say it? Proverbially,
Proverbially.
thank you.
Yes.
This is also why Cammy's here. Proverbially. Whatever.
Word.
Whether we're going to drown them within an inch of their lives under a very thick pool of jello,
Whoa.
or whether we're going to let them swim off into a beautiful jacuzzi of life.
Whoa, I was about to say, this metaphor is like dark, like some Scarface shit, where it's like, you're gonna swim with the fishes. We're gonna tie like bricks to your feet and
No.
drop you in the river.
Swimming is good. Sinking is
I was
bad.
thinking
So-
like a hot tub time machine when you said jacuzzi, but you know.
Hey man, that'd be fine. That'd be totally fine. But essentially we're going to pass or fail them past being swimming, just keep swimming as it were, or we're going to fail them and sink them. And of course, we're going to just base our opinions on the first 3 episodes only, even if we've watched more than that since then. We're going to pass or fail them based just on the first 3 episodes.
Right on.
I purposely decided to stop watching things at 3 for now until I get the chance to review them to avoid it swaying my... So I am actually glad to see one of them that I'm talking about today, because it's like, I want to see the next episode, but I kind of want to avoid letting myself be swayed by it, so
That might be
give it...
Yeah,
maybe that's what we should do in the future, but at the same time I'm not sure if I would have as much self-control as you.
Yeah, I got good shows this crop, man.
Yeah. I think at this point, we're all going to be on an honor system that if we continued watching it after episode 3, even if it got bad afterwards, we should probably pass it. Just because that would have been how we would have gone about it weeks ago when we kept going. But John, actually, I commend you, and if you could keep doing that, you're going to be the most pure person on this podcast.
The podcast purist.
Such a gentleman.
Gentleman.
I was about to say, I use a website, track.tv, and basically whenever a new episode pops up, it shows up in my dashboard saying, I need to watch this. So then it provides like this tick in the back of my brain where it's like, you need to watch the latest, you need to watch the latest episode of Fuuka and Masamune-kun. And I'm like, oh, I gotta do it, no!
Craig, it's your Kermit in the like Star Wars like cape. Have you seen that meme?
That
with
meme
Kermit
is
the Frog?
fantastic.
Yeah, it's your Kermit.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to
the inner me.
I'm going to insert that right here on our YouTube upload. I'm gonna put that picture.
Awesome. Watch
This is
Fuuka.
like
to watch Fuuka or not watch Fuuka. But that being said, I'm gonna turn it back over to you, Craig, because I believe you're the first one to start your impressions, actually.
I am. I have 2 impressions today. With that being said, Cass, do you want me to break them both down, or just do one at a time and then pass the baton back around?
We're gonna do them one at a time. That way, everybody gets to take a little bit of a break, especially because I know.
Fair point.
I know that with at least one of mine, I'm gonna be at least mildly exasperated afterwards. So
You're gonna be a little salty.
Like an ocean's full of salt. But no, so you can do your first, and then we'll pass it on to me, John, Cammy, respectively.
Word to that. All right. First up on the chopping block, I have an impression of a show called Masamune-kun's Revenge, otherwise known in the Japanese as Masamune-kun No Revenge. The studio to this brand new IP is Studio Silverlink. Some grand titles that they have produced in their past are, let's see here, we have Kokoro Connect, a favorite of Cass's, Fate Prisma Ilia,
A favorite of Craig's.
I actually haven't watched it, but I hear okay things about it. I mean, it depends on who you ask, but...
Hey man,
I
with
don't
the
know.
amount of gifts you've sent me, I'm just saying.
I don't know what you're talking about. They've also produced Chivalry of a Failed Knight. I can speak words.
Jeez, is that really perverted one? I feel like it might have been. I'm gonna look into this.
Are you sure?
I'm gonna look into
I was about to
this.
say, are you sure? Are you sure you're not thinking of Fate Prisma Ilia?
Well, maybe they do a lot of perverted things. What about Masamune, Craig? Is that also perverted? Let's see.
Listen, it's not perverted, but Ashton Kutcher should be a part of this show because basically, I'm gonna break it down for you. The synopsis is As a child, Masamune Makabe once suffered greatly at the hands of his wealthy and beautiful girl named Aki Adageki, who nicknamed him Piggy due to his chubby appearance. Seeking revenge against his tormentor, Masamune works hard to improve himself and returns as an incredibly handsome, albeit narcissistic high school student. When he encounters Aki once more, he is prepared to exact vengeance. With the aid of the rich girl's maid, Yoshino Kawai, Masamune slowly begins to build his relationship with Aki, intending to break her heart when the time is right. However, as the friendship with Aki begins to grow, Masamune starts to question the objectives of his devious plans, and if bringing them to fruition is what his heart truly desires. So basically, the thing that drew me to this show was the fact that, yes, it's set in high school, but the premise, and it does have the romance, right? You know, those go a dime a dozen. But obviously the thing that drew me to it was the fact that he's gonna punk the girl, right? That's what he wants. He wants to, like, Ashton Kutcher this. And what I found hilarious, which I mentioned, is he gets aid with Yoshino. Aki's little maid girl is assisting him in the fact that she's like, I want to see her fall too, because I want to see what happens. She needs to be put in her place. I'm like, oh damn!
That's awesome.
Snap, son! Snap! And basically, it has a bits of humor. The cast is entertaining. The guy literally has, what does he have? He has a treadmill, he has a workbench, or workout station in his room. He's jacked. He's always constantly working out. And he always makes these jokes. He's like, I gotta make sure I gotta, like, if I eat with plenty of calories, I gotta work out that much more later on. But as the synopsis has stated, as the friendship with Aki begins to flourish, he starts to question himself. So it's a kind of like guessing game of, will he fall for the girl again? Or will he stay true to his plans? Since this is an impression of the first 3 episodes, basically, episode 1, he basically gets a note at the end of it where he says, gives him the nickname, which obviously was the maid that gave it to him because he thought he was had. And he goes on a date with her, and then at the end of it, he's like, oh man, my objectives. What? Cass, you're watching this. What say you on this? Do you like this? Me and you have talked off pod about this plenty of times. We have,
and we've gone back and forth, and I actually don't know whether Craig is going to absolutely drop this or not, because he seems to be going back and forth with it, whereas I actually really like this show, because it's a very, like Craig said, a high school romance is a dime a dozen, especially in the anime industry, but to have an actual reason for him to pursue her from the get-go, other than having a whole, basically a whole anime based on will they or won't they even talk to each other, this one gets straight to the chase. He has an objective. And I also find it very funny that this is the second time in 2 seasons that we've had a rather overweight character that's slimmed down very quickly. Though in his case, he worked it off over an extreme amount of time. So it makes a little bit more sense. But that's another thing that I find interesting about it, is that where Kiss Him Not Me touched on it very briefly, I feel like they are undertoning the whole point of, oh, I'm hot now, so I can get away with this, 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 and this. And
that's
that actually, that goes back to another thing that happens in a couple of the episodes where he says, oh God, if people find out that I used to be super overweight, then nobody's going to want to idolize me anymore. And that's a constant thing that's going on in his head, and sometimes gets in his way of even pursuing her in the first place. So, which of course we all know that there is some prejudice towards people who are overweight. And so he's not completely wrong, but at the same time, I'd like to think on average, people aren't dicks to somebody on large just because they're overweight. So he has this feeling of grandeur, so he's suffering from this trauma as well. So I'm very, very interested in whether that's going to come up later or not. That's another reason I was interested and stay interested in it.
I was, the first episode, I was very okay. However, episodes 2 and 3 were far more entertaining in my opinion. I felt as though it was a roller coaster that started to, like, build momentum and keep going. The comedy in it, what I found, was actually pretty, like, it was actually pretty funny. I've said it before, but, like, the inclusion of the maid essentially helping him, kind of being, like, straight to the point and blunt and kind of, like, a dick to him is just pretty refreshing in and of itself. And also, yeah, like you said, he is kind of full of himself and he is narcissistic because he's jaded. But at the same time, he's like, oh crap, I gotta get her email. Crap, I never asked the girl her email. How do I do this? How do I do? What do?
Everyone's gonna know I don't have friends. Oh no.
Oh shit. But you know what? He's got the androgynous boy that is his best friend forever.
Yeah, but even they haven't swapped emails yet. So
you're right.
So that's another thing that's interesting. Also, there is some fan service in this, but it's tasteful. And actually, it's the first time in a long time that I've actually laughed at a panty shot.
Oh, you're talking about Yoshino tripping.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. There's a part where she trips and he's just like, dude, and she's just like, I don't even care. I just don't even care. Which actually made me laugh. So, I mean, it's got a lot of good things, but also I know that you weren't necessarily very big on it to begin with either. So, what's the verdict, bro? We can't keep talking about how amazing it is and also not mention what you don't like and whether you're gonna pass it or fail it.
Well, the thing I don't really like is the possibility of it he will fall for this girl and essentially be another dime a dozen. But that being said, the journey, albeit if he gets there or not, will be interesting. So with that being said, I've said that a lot this episode. Fun. I say the verdict on this one is it swims or flies like a little bird into the sunset.
I've been fighting him on this for weeks.
She really has. Like, every time we talk about this, she's like, you like other shows that are fucking predictable. If you dropped a show on its predictability, then you would have dropped Naruto years ago. And I'm like,
hey man, I didn't sabotage this, I promise.
So one quick question. I only watched, actually I think I did watch the first episode of this once on a whim. Can one of you tell me why his mom looks like a 14-year-old girl?
No fucking clue. I think that's just anime being anime, to be honest.
Yeah.
Wait, that's his mother?
Yeah, that's his mom. She cooks him food constantly, and she's like, "Why are you so mean to your mother?"
Yeah, that was like the one thing for me where I was like, what the heck show? But, you know, anime shenanigans.
She shows up.
She isn't even in the show.
Shows up once more.
Yeah, she's not even in there long enough for me to even care, almost. And also, it's also not one of those creepy things where it's like a sister who's into her brother or a mother who's into her son. So it's almost like it's silly and dumb, and I agree it's kind of a turnoff, but it doesn't
it doesn't like
show.
Ruin the show. Cool.
She's not there long enough.
I was about to say, but the mom and the sister are always eating, like, hearty meals, and, like, the sister's always eating snacks. Like, literally within the first couple minutes of the first episode, she's like, you want a potato chip? She's like, or the guy's like, no, I don't want that shit. Get that away from me. And she's like, fine, help. You're more for me.
Nice.
I'm so happy with the swimmer.
So, I was about to say, Cass, now you can, at the end of days, we can review this.
Yep, so this will be one of the ones we put on the review list sometime in the near future.
I'm passing the baton off to you.
Oh, it is my turn. Okay, so my first thing that I'm going to talk about is Urara Meirochou, which I just want to bet everyone or dare everyone to say that 10 times fast.
Urara Meirochou, Urara Meirochou, Urara Meirochou, Urara Meirochou.
That was 10 times.
Ooh la la.
I was about to say, I could keep going. I like imitate JoJo's like sound effects all the time.
For time's sake, this is Meirochou, or Labyrinth Town, the town of fortune telling. In town, there is a fortune-telling shop called Urara, where girls aspiring to be fortune tellers come from all over the country. Chia, who was raised in the mountains, comes to the town with a purpose. But what is it exactly? There she meets Kon, who is always serious, Kome, who loves all things Western, and the shy Nono. Their fun days of living together as apprentice fortune tellers are about to begin. And that was taken off of my anime list, as I think all of ours are going to be.
Word.
This one was animated by JC Staff, which is one of the reasons I picked it. I love JC Staff. And the next one I'm going to talk about was also from a studio I really love. This season, I made a mistake in basing most of my picks off of just how they looked and what studio animated them. Though that might tell you which way I'm going on a good deal of my anime so far.
Cass, haven't you ever heard the grand old tale, you can never tell a story by its cover?
Don't judge a book by its cover. Well, I'm learning my lesson.
Thank you.
I'm learning my lesson. I should have at least... But honestly, with this one, even the synopsis does sound quite interesting. But that being said, JC Staff has, of course, also done things such as Shakugan no Shana, which if you've known me for any period of time, you'd know that was one of my favorites when I was much younger. They've also They've also...
they did edit.
Well, they did edit in post, probably. But anyway...
of course.
And also during the whole during the whole animation process. But anyway, they also animated Shokugeki no Soma, which I know there's a bunch of people here who are big fans of that show. I'm not super into food porn, but hey, to each their own. And they also did something as lovely and sweet as Toradora. So they've got quite a wide range here, from action to comedy / cooking show / romance. So they've got a lot under their belt. So that really drew me to this particular anime. And that being said, the show is very pretty. One of the things that I can give it merits for is that all of the characters are very cute. Very, very cute looking. And it's got an almost... It's almost got like a painting-esque feel to it at times. Like somebody's... Yeah, like almost like watercolors, or it feels like somebody's painting these scenes instead of animating them, which is really nice. But that being said, I mean, it even says it in the synopsis, what's the purpose exactly for Chia going there? You don't even know that until episode 2. Episode 1, you just see this girl who's scantily clad, mind you, running into a town... with her animals, which she was raised in the mountains, so she has animals following her everywhere. Her animals decide to raid the town and steal a bunch of stuff for her. And her response is, oh God, what do I do? Which could be a beautiful setup for something really silly or funny. But of course she has to have a fan service moment with lifting her shirt up and pretending to apologize how animals do, which instantly turned me off of the show. And of course, she bumps into the other 2 girls later and basically forces them to apologize in the same way whenever they make an apology, which, by the way, that whole apology lifting your shirt thing is almost never seen again.
Okay.
So
progress.
Well, progress, but also if you're gonna make it a joke, like, I don't know whether I would have been...
Are you saying you want them to commit?
Well,
you want her to apologize by flashing her belly?
Well, no, but I mean...
I've seen the Tumblr gifs.
Well, no, but like, if she's going to be so adamant about making the other girls apologize the right way too, maybe not go full frontal with it, like, when they weren't expecting it, but maybe make it an ongoing thing, silly thing, where whenever a girl wants to apologize, they cover themselves up an inch away from her or something. That would have been funny, and in a way, it may have even made it a little better for me. But the show was just too much people screaming and running around and being just dumb.
So even post episode 1, the plot seems to be kind of very bland and like it's not even taking off. Essentially, is what I'm hearing. Basically,
because you eventually find out that the whole reason that Chia went there was that she's trying to find her mother. Which, okay, you want to find your mom, but you don't know what she looks like. You don't know what her name is. She left you when you were a child. One, why the fuck do you want to meet her in the first place? Give me a reason. Yeah, she abandoned her. Like, give me a reason. And she doesn't even know if this mother of hers is, like, a great Urara or not. Like, if they had established the fact that maybe, I don't know, her mother was someone great who needed to be protected, and therefore she was taken away from her daughter at a young age, or anything like that. it would have been so much better. But we are given no motivation whatsoever for Chia to even want to find her mother, other than the very basic sentimentality of, I want to find my mom, which got me a little bit, but at the same time, not enough.
Yeah.
Especially because the show at that point becomes about, oh, we're rank 10 Uraras, because that's what the fortune tellers are. We're rank 10s. If your mother is in this town at all, she's probably a rank 1. Or you can go and meet somebody who's a rank 1 and they can at least divine for you where she is. So now it's a show about, oh, I've got to get my rank up so I can see my mother, which is kind of like, I want to be the Hokage. Believe it. You know what I mean? So that is mildly interesting, but so far by episode 3, they've made absolutely no progress. They're very, even in episode 3, they have to basically help out at a place, and they spend most of the episode trying to help this fortune-telling shop. And at the end, they're given a challenge of whether or not they'll be able to ever actually leave that shop. And the lady who runs the store eventually lets them go. But of course, they ran out of the place, not even changing out of the garb for working there. They left all of their clothes and stuff behind. And even the shop lady was like, they're kind of dumb. So it's very hard for me to sympathize with somebody who's not intelligent.
Yeah, yeah. And they're not making them, like, compelling in any sort of way. Are the characters pretty just basic, like, tropes that you see a lot?
Well, you've got the Dits and Chia. Mm-hmm. And then you've got, I mean, I guess the girls aren't completely tropey, but they kind of are. You've got the...
Yeah.
You've got all of them are super moe and loud and make stupid decisions just so they can go, ooh, tee-hee, later on. So you've got that trope. But then you've got, the only girl that I really liked was Kon, who was mildly smart. But of course you're always going to have the smart one in the bunch who's mildly intelligent.
Right.
And tries to talk everybody out of doing stupid things. And then, of course, Kome, even her design reminds me of Nico from Love Live.
Oh, okay.
And
garbage.
And she's very similar in the fact that she's not as bad, but she's almost as bad in that it's mostly about herself at first. And she makes herself sound so great, and, you know, that she's traveled so far, and I don't know. And then you've got Nono, who's, of course, the shy, quiet one.
Mm-hmm. So, does Kome address herself as Kome ni, or not?
No, she does not. However, there in the most recent episode, Kome and Chia, the main girl, essentially got stuck together because Chia's hair is so long, and it got caught in one of Kome's buttons. And it was a outfit that she got from France, so she was unwilling to move the buttons, and Chia was too unwilling to cut her hair because she was scared of scissors. So they ended up having to have hijinks of being stuck together all day.
Right.
So brushing their teeth, going to the bathroom, yada yada yada. And of course, they're all building it up to be this big thing about, oh, we should get to know more about each other so we can be real friends.
Okay.
But it doesn't deliver.
Right.
I guess, long story short, I am drowning this in a pool of Jell-O.
Dang.
I don't like it. It's not the worst of the season, but there's way better things that you could be watching. It's not worth your time.
Fair enough.
All right. Does that mean you're up next, John?
Apparently so. And,
Tell me about Spiritpact.
Yeah, I am kicking off with Spiritpact. The synopsis goes, heir of an old famous family of exorcists, Yo Keika is stricken by poverty after losing his parents, and he has to struggle as a street fortune teller and as a part-time computer recovery guy, in order to earn money to make ends meet. One night, when in a junkyard, scavenging for parts for said computer repair, because can't even afford to buy new parts, he meets the mysterious yet charismatic exorcist Tanmako Ki, who was at the time fighting against an evil spirit. This encounter was the beginning of a fated story for Yo Keika. Unfortunately for him, on his way home, he was hit by a car and became a ghost. That's where the handsome exorcist Tamoko Ki appeared again and asked Yokeika to make a pact with him, a spirit pact, you would say, in order for them to fight against the evil spirits together. Here starts the friendship of our heroes.
So he's Yusuke Urameshi, spirit detective.
I was about to say, yeah, it's like, so is he a ghost, and is he does he get back to his body, or is he permanently a ghost?
No, he's dead. He's dead as a dono. Dead as a dono. There is a joke in episode 1, because he reappears in a hospital, for some reason. Presumably because that's where he was declared dead. And so he flies over to the maternity ward, because he's like, okay, I'm just gonna stay here, and when a baby is born, I'm gonna jump in and be reborn as this new baby in a better life than the shitty one that I ended up with in the end.
That's kind of creepy. I am going to steal the soul of a child and replace them.
Dun, dun, dun.
It's like he just goes in, kicks the child's soul out. This is my swamp now.
But yeah, Tamoko Ki is just like, that's not how it fucking works. You're an idiot. Make a spirit pact with me. And yeah, I should actually say that it's by the animation studio is Howliner's Huming Animation, who have currently only done 3 other series so far. Chufeng B, To Be Hero, and Reikenzen Eichi no Shikaku, which is also still airing. They are being their 4th project, because Reikanzen is also currently airing. Their first series was aired in 2015, so I will give them some credit that they are a new studio. They are also a Chinese studio, which is one of the reasons why this series caught my attention in the first place. So yeah. That being said,
here's the butt.
Episode 1 is really not a good sell for the series.
How come?
Yokeika is an idiot. And he talks way too fucking much. And it's like, oh, I have to say a paragraph in a minute, and it has to be full of gags and stupid stuff, and Tamokiki has to be this straight guy to my stupidity, basically. And
buddy cop movie.
And it's also trying to do too much. It's just, episode 1 feels like it should have been a 2-parter, but they squished it down without taking anything out. They literally squished it and just sped it up.
Yikes.
No room to breathe, it sounds like.
Yeah, it just feels like, okay, there's constantly something happening, and then, like, oh, plot twist. I was like, okay, where was the setup for this plot twist? It was just like, cause Keika gets abducted by the same evil spirit that Tamokiki was fighting in the junkyard, because he got distracted by Keika and it got away. And then somehow the evil spirit, it has a scene where Keika was like, oh no, I'm gonna join you guys because that guy sucks, and walks away, and the other evil spirit's like, you're really just gonna let him go, and then it turns out, oh no, that was actually the evil spirit in disguise all along, and Keiko was trapped over there by the evil spirits that seemed to be confused about why they were letting him. How? What? That wasn't planned too well, because you just contradicted yourself really badly.
Awkward.
You sound disappointed.
What about episodes 2 and 3? Did it get better? Did it get worse?
Episode 2 and 3 are a lot better, but overall it's still kind of lackluster, and and then episode 3 goes back to trying to do a little bit. While not as bad as episode 1, it ends up being like, oh, by the way, here's my massive estate, and all of my family, and all of my manservants, and maids, and people that look after me, and oh, by the way, here are the spirits from the mansion who have come to find you and check you out, and they're pissed because I've chosen you as a Spiritpact instead of them, and
yeah, you sound like it's doing too much and it's not grabbing your attention, and you sound really disappointed in it.
Also, suddenly yaoi bait for no reason at all.
Well, they gotta have that, man.
I mean, hey, that's
because
a draw.
They're too bishies.
That's a draw for many people. I was actually looking at the concept art, and I was like, "Ooh, I could ship that." But if there's nothing to the show, that's not a point.
Yeah. So like, episode 2 actually kind of like, maybe this isn't as trash as I was expecting it to be, and then episode 3 is like, you almost had me. You almost had me.
So close, so far away.
You almost had it, and it slipped through your fingers.
No.
It's passing then, gotcha.
No, unfortunately, it sinks. But
dun 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 dun. Nice
Glub.
setup for that, though.
Yeah. Oh well. So now Cami. Yep.
All right, thank you. I'm going to start us off with Youjo Senki, or in English, it's the Saga of Tanya the Evil. So let me try and get a gritty man voice on right now. I don't know how this is going to work.
Oh.
On the front lines of the war, there is a little girl with blonde hair, blue eyes, and porcelain white skin. She commands her squad with lisping voice. Her name is Tanya de Gurechov. But in reality, she is one of Japan's most elite salarymen, reborn as a little girl after angering a mysterious being who called himself God. This little girl, who prioritizes efficiency and her own career over everything else, will become the most dangerous being amongst the sorcerers of the Imperial Army. Dun dun dun! So yeah, this show really drew me because of the premise of like a Moe Hitler. Kind of tasteless.
Hitler.
Kind of
Danganronpa has that.
What? Nice. It just
Total badass.
It just yeah, I was like, this is so cool. I want to see this little girl come in and punch people and kill them, and I don't know. I don't usually go for gritty stuff, but that premise was just really appealing to me. It seemed very original. It's also done by Studio Nut, who has not released any other anime. This is their first show, so this is the first time they probably managed to nut and have a baby. So congrats to them.
Wait. So this is the first time the nut had release?
Yeah, it's the first time they nutted.
Oh God, the jokes.
So yes, and to be fair, after watching the first 3 episodes, and this was another draw from the trailer, the art style is really unique and does some really cool things that I like. It's got really beautiful backgrounds, like the skyscapes are stunning. The color palette is really gritty, like what you'd think of if you're in the trenches, you know, of a war, sort of thing. And it's pretty, there are things that started to bother me after a few episodes. Sometimes our main character, the little girl, like her head is really disproportionate to her body in certain shots, and sometimes her mouth spans her entire width of her face, and it's really weird looking and was a little off-putting at times. But overall, especially I think for a breakout studio, it's doing really solid things. There are definitely moments where I've been impressed, despite the moments where I have cringed. As far as characters go, the real big draw of the show is Tanya herself. They're not doing too much to create a really compelling or a really involved outer cast. They're just kind of there. You've got other military generals and people out in the trenches. There's one girl that is kind of her subordinate, and she's fine. She's kind of there just to be the very naive audience goer, and a lot of her reactions are to really make the audience say, oh, okay, yeah, wow, Tanya sure is evil, oh my gosh. Which I honestly am kind of disappointed in. I really wanted this show almost to make me uncomfortable with how messed up this girl would be. And it doesn't really do that. It opts for she's very sarcastic and blunt, almost kind of the straight man sometimes with ridiculousness, but it goes more for what I think are soft gags than real hard-hitting things that I was hoping for. But she is fun to watch, and the voice acting is good. The plot itself, and this might just be me because I had the same issue with Shumatsu Izeta, when they get really into the military talk, I kind of get bored. I will
check out.
Yeah, right. I may go on my phone and play some Sailor Moon drops for a second and tune back in. No lies there. But then the pretty animation gets me back in, and so I'm really conflicted with this show because I definitely think out of what's been out this season and what I've seen so far, it's doing some cool things. It's a really, really solid show. I think a lot of people could really like it, but for me, it's not necessarily living up to the big expectations I had. So this is going to sink. I'm sorry.
Glub, 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 glub.
I was just gonna ask before you actually did sink this. So it's just did they ever go into the fact that this person, before they were reincarnated as a little girl, did they ever go back into the salaryman's past and how he angered God?
Yes, they did. And that was actually a pretty cool scene. So they go and you find out that the salaryman who Tanya once was took place in just modern day Japan, our time. They didn't really show him as being cruel, though. He was just kind of... He was a very sensible and what's gonna make work profitable and what optimizes my performance, what gets me forward. So he was very go-getting and was kind of cruel, but the cruel thing, big air quotes, that he did was this guy had missed a couple work days or something because of family emergency, and then the salaryman's well, you're fired, I don't care, whatever. And then God comes down and he's you have no faith in humanity and you frustrate me. And then they have this talk about how the salaryman's it's pointless to believe in the higher being sort of thing. So then God, or Being X, as he is called in the show, is okay, I'm just gonna reincarnate you to this alternate fantasy world that's in a pseudo World War II setting, and you're gonna be this little girl that has magic capabilities. I should mention that too. It's what is cool is, again, Izeta, it's fighting it's magic with magic too. So that part's kind of cool.
Okay.
Sounds like a fever dream.
It kind of is in parts.
right?
Yeah, the first scene, like, where you see Being X is really cool because everything stops and, like, freezes in slow motion, and they have some really cool, like, visual effects. And then you see people slowly turn and their lips are moving as Being X is talking, which is cool until it gets to, like, a bird and it's talking, and you're like, no, this is not as edgy as you think it is, I'm sorry. But
it needs more edge.
Yeah. But then now it seems that in the world where Tanya is now, Being X likes to represent himself as a nutcracker doll, which is interesting. But at one point, like, she's floating in the sky and Being X talks, and you see this giant, like, face of a nutcracker doll, like, in her background, and it's like, oh my gosh, this looks really derpy. Like, what are you doing? Music also in this show is so good. The opening is so good. Everybody should listen to, I think it's Jingo Jungle by Mythenroid. Super, super good.
Oh, nice.
So check out the opening. Give it a shot. For me, it just unfortunately doesn't make the cut.
And that's okay.
I was about to say it's...
I was just going to say, if anything, this being a new studio, if you're saying that the music and the animation is good,
Yeah.
if they can get their hands on a good story or a more consistent one that might draw people in, maybe we'll see more from Studio Nut in the future, so that would be...
Yeah. I would look forward to it. I would totally look forward to it.
I was about to say, it sounded like a mixed bag, but all things considered, I mean...
I think...
I
think other people could like it.
I might actually give it a try. I overlooked it because the image was of the girl with the creepiest of smiles. And like, I'm not sure if I really want to be watching this.
That's the money shot. Yep. That's such a good moment. Yeah.
That's how she gets all the gentlemen that look.
Yeah, 10 years
right there.
10 years old, and it's all these old military men. No, thankfully they don't really do anything to fetishize her.
Word.
Thankfully, there's kind of gags about, like, the girls are like, oh my gosh, I got this dress for your, like, commemorative photo, and she's just like, oh my god, do I have to wear this? But, like, it's not a big deal.
Well, that being said, we're gonna drop it. I mean, if anything, it's not as bad as Urara Meirochou.
No way.
Like, so there you go.
No way.
So there we go. So we'll have them keep each other company, but we won't sink it as far into the Jello as Urara Meirochou.
Yeah.
I just want Jello now.
And Spiritpact. I think Spiritpact and Urara Meirochou are just holding hands at the bottom of hell.
Oh, that actually kind of reminds me. I never actually talked about the art for Spiritpact. I will give it credit that it's consistent, but it's also kind of consistently bad.
I think you've sold us on the fact that there isn't much good to say about Spiritpact.
Yeah, there's not really anything to say, but it was just like a little addendum that I completely didn't mention the art at all. So.
Well, we appreciate that, and I'm sure people listening appreciate it as well, because that's one of the reasons why a lot of us watch anime. I mean, I know the whole reason I tried Kabaneri, despite most people telling me that not to even bother, was because the animation looked fantastic, and I don't think I wasted my time with that one. But that's a story for another time. So I think we're in our second round here.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed. I'm back up to bat once more. Let's see if we can get a home run with this one, ladies and germs. My second one up to bat is Fuuka. This little gem here is the product of the studio Diamond Media, who have brought you such lovely gems as Kodomo no Jikan.
My favorite.
Kantai Collection, Unlimited Fafner, and The Lost Village.
A lot of those are really bad.
Yeah.
Hey man, listen. The source material is here or there. So, I mean...
I've heard people say Lost Village is so bad, people think that they made it purposely bad.
To troll the internet. Yes, I never watched it myself, but with that being said, let's dive right into the synopsis. Fuuka is a sequel to the 2004 manga Suzuka. The story follows Yu Haruna, a loner and an avid Twitter user that made a promise with his childhood friend Koyuki Hinashi of starting a band. One night on his way to buy dinner, he stops to take a photo and upload it to Twitter. A strange high school girl named Fuuka Akitsuki accidentally bumps into him and mistakenly believes that Yu is trying to take a photo of her panties, which causes her to smash his phone. Talk about a hell of a first impression. Fuuka leaves behind a CD, which Yu returns the following day, approaching Yu's appreciating Yu's appreciating Yu's personality. Fuuka starts a relationship with him, but this is in turn complicated when Koyuki, now a popular idol, contacts Yu on Twitter and invites him to attend her concert. So what drew me to this title was really, I didn't know anything about it, but my friend Pete Shadowfox85 was tweeting about this at one point. Said that this author is known for like plot twists, and it's a romantic comedy. And obviously, as I've stated in the synopsis, that there is music and a band element to it. He really liked the manga, and he's wanted to watch the show based on the element of music, which adds its own layer of depth, kind of like Your Lie in April, whereas some people swore by the anime and were like, I don't want to touch the manga because the music obviously adds so much more and oomph to it. But really, it's very, very pretty when it comes to animation, very fluid. The character models are very nice. Fuuka's very cute. She's very distinct. She's got blue hair, and everyone else has their own like style and whatnot. And they're all just the supporting characters over time on the 3 episodes. By the 3rd episode, she wants to start a band, and Yu comments about the fact that she's got a great singing voice. I wish as though I did not watch episode 4 because it completely continues to further my oh snap, I really like this because it introduces more people and whatnot, but that's for a later point. I will continue to gush on this by the fact that is it predictable with its love triangles with his childhood friend that's now the idol, and Fuuka, the girl that he meets that he's obviously interested in? Yes. What stands out to me is obviously the music. You have this introvert kind of guy that like literally scrolls his phone, which is what half of us do here, and what I know I do a lot. I like to scroll Twitter half the time. Just always keep them going up or down rather. But like I said, it's very, I don't know what draws me to it. It's very pleasant. I like to see, will they, won't they? How are they going to, like, are they going to wind up together? I know it's predictable, but Cass, you saw the first 2 episodes. I know you haven't seen the 3rd episode, I don't believe. What did you think on this little piece here?
And I was giving you a lot of crap at the beginning by saying a lot of the shows that the studio has done are really bad. I think this might be the first one that they've done that is very good so far for what I've seen from the first couple of episodes. It's very pretty. It's got really good animation quality. The characters are really nice. The only thing that I can say so far is that I'm really happy that they finally apparently updated the synopsis on my anime list, because the original one was abysmal.
Right, I got mine through Wikipedia.
Oh, okay. I thought you were reading off my anime list. My bad. Okay, go read Wikipedia. It gives a much better synopsis of the show. But I also really do like that. For what I've seen so far in the first 2 episodes, they do have a love triangle, but it's a very unconventional love triangle, or at least one that I haven't seen a lot in anime, where one of the girls is physically there, and we can sense him being mildly attractive to you, and then you've got this other girl that he's had feelings for at least once in the past, who he only can communicate with through his phone, which of course he has on him at all times. So it has this very interesting dynamic of which girl is going to be able to pull him in, the one that's always there, or the one he basically communicates with long distance, which I think is really cool. I also really like that there is an openly gay character in this show as well.
Yes. I was about to comment, he's also invited to be a part of the band as well, but yes, Yu mistakenly believes that he is going to be, like, hit on her, and actually freaks out until they clean the pool, because, you know, high school, right? Then he's like, I'm not interested in girls. And then everyone freaks out because he's, like, obviously the hot guy with the blonde hair, and he's, like, a pianist and all that sort of shit.
Well, nobody freaks out.
But well, no, Yu does. No one else does.
Well, he doesn't really freak out either. He's just like, what? Oh, okay. Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
I think he was more distraught with the fact that he was wrong than that this was a gay character, which I think is really cool. He's not... Because I feel like gay characters in anime, are not always handled perfectly, or they're made to be as, like, a joke. Like the girl who's always walking around fondling other girls' boobies, or...
In Keijo, right?
Or, you know what I mean? Like, openly
I
LGBT characters I do not feel are very well represented in anime, but that seems to be on an upturn recently.
Yeah.
So
I was about to say, I believe his name's Makoto. He's just a normal guy. He's just like, yeah, I don't really got anything to do. I'm not in any clubs. I'll join you guys.
Yeah, so I think that's also a really neat thing. I think Fuuka's doing a lot of very interesting things.
Yes.
I've heard good things about Fuuka.
It's also a continuation of an older series, I believe, as well. Sorry, John, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, like I said, sequel to Suzuka, so...
Yeah, that was one thing I heard about it that meant that I end up overlooking it completely, because it was like, oh, it's a sequel. Okay, I haven't seen the original, so I guess I can't watch this one, though.
Though, I wouldn't... It's not really a sequel, it's a spin-off. You don't need to read Shizuka. You don't need to read or watch it, from what I understand, too.
So Suzuka, just really short synopsis, is a love story of, like, two high schoolers. It's a boy, and they meet Suzuka, and she's a track runner, and she's like, I want to be the best! And then they do track. And Fuuka is the daughter of that main character and Suzuka. That's pretty much the depth of it. Yeah.
Okay, so it's a similar relationship between the two series as, what was it? Trinity Heart, I think it was called, and Nanoha. The original characters are there, they're just not the focus. The focus is on.
I was about to say, there's literally only been one scene with
the parents.
Fuuka's parents, and they're just like, she doesn't want to do track and field, and then the dad's like, okay, that's fine, so long as she follows her dreams, and then you'll see her listening to, like, music. So, that's the theme. And, obviously, you can tell by the enthusiasm, I'm going to pass this piece. I'm very excited to see what happens. No, like, it says something when I go to Crunchyroll's manga section, and I'm like, should I read this manga? Because I don't read manga, because I'm lazy, but... I just want to know what happens next. Like, it's something I'm looking forward to every Friday.
Nice.
They do swim in the 4th episode.
So this one's swimming, yeah.
So that's been... how many?
So
that's 2 swims and everything else is sunk so far.
Yeah,
that's
so
our first.
No, that's our second.
I'm generous.
He's passed Masamune-kun and Fuuka.
Oh, that's right. Craig is the lifeguard? I don't know.
I will save you all.
Don't save the ones that are already drowning. They deserve to be there.
Wow. Oh, life is precious, Cass.
Let's see if there are any others Let's see if there's any others that swim this episode.
Well, let's just say the next one doesn't stand much of a chance. I'm just gonna throw it out there from the get-go.
Damn, Cass.
I am going. But it's my turn.
I know, I looked in the schedule and I'm like, hot damn, well, why are you passing,
I'm failing this one. This one's just dropping, I'm just gonna, from the get-go, say I'm dropping this much further than Urara Meirochou and the layers of terrible, if this one's not even getting dropped in Jello with the rest of them, it's getting dropped into, like, 2-month-old yogurt.
Oh, gross!
Where it belongs.
I really like the gangster analogy versus the Jello, because the more you talk about Jello, the more I want Jello.
Jello's delicious, but it would be terrible to drown in, which is why I picked it. But
also idols.
Okay, let's actually get to why I despise this show, and maybe the synopsis will help with that a little.
We haven't even said the title of the series yet.
Idol Jihen, by the way. It's Idol Jihen. And I'm going to read for you the synopsis of Idol Jihen.
Otherwise known as what?
Idol trash? I don't know.
Wow.
What else is it known by?
I thought it was known by Idol Incidents.
Oh, Idol Incidents. Oh, okay, yeah, I guess it does have a English title as well. Thank you, Craig. I thought you were, pulling me for a joke there. Oh,
no,
my
man,
God.
no.
Yeah, so also known as Idol Incidents, but airing under Idol Jihen on most. Although on Crunchyroll, I think they have it as Idol Incidents as well. So, whichever. You can go find this lovely gem under either of those titles. Anyway. Increasing income divide. Creeping environmental pollution, unsolvable waste issues, childcare waiting lists being discussed without those concerned, repeated corruption, the government smeared by vested interests, can't do a thing against the many problems and sources of discontent. It's in this situation, with Japan cornered with no way out, that idols rise up to save the day. The Heroine Party, Sunlight Party, Starlight Party, Bishojo Party, Wakaba Party, Subculture New Party, and SOS Party. From these 7 idol political parties, the idols who have become national diet members, or diet members, whichever, and representatives for each prefecture will smash through the sense of stagnation covering Japan using the power of song and dance. They'll bring back the smiling faces of the people and wrap Japan in a glittering aura.
So where's Muse and Aquars in these factions?
Well, before we start, let's talk with what should stick out, or what should have stuck out to me as silly from the get-go. So, idol political parties is a thing. So listen.
They have influence, yo. Even in real life.
I really, really wanted to like this show, because I thought when I first read this that it sounded really dumb, but I wanted to see what they did with it.
Right.
I thought that maybe it would have been some really smart parody on the fact that not all idols are dumb, and some of them are very smart women who care about infrastructure, and maybe they sing and dance, but they're also very smart and understand politics. And because the fact that they're so young, because most idols are young, that they can provide kind of like an open and new, kind of like taking today's young people and having them get to decide what happens in government. Which is where I thought this was going to go. Unfortunately, it sounds exactly like where it's going to go. Anyway, so let me just say one of the reasons why I chose this was that it's animated by Studio Mappa.
Yeah.
Which has done such things as the most recent super hit Yuri on Ice.
Yeah.
They also had their hands in Sankyo no Terror, which is one of my favorites, and also Sakamichi no Apollon, which is a show that, or Kids on the Slope, as it is known in English.
Both. Yep. Yeah.
Which all of these are, despite some of the faults in some of them, most of them are very good shows that take not necessarily things that people think about a lot, like terrorism or ice skating or jazz music, and put a really interesting spin on it. So that being said, I really wanted to see what they would do with this. Unfortunately, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a bunch of girls, most of them probably just getting out of high school, who know nothing about politics, nothing about the world, but they get what they want because they're cute and they sing and they dance. And that makes it really, really frustrating. Like, in the first episode, you're introduced to the main character, whose name I already forgot because all of these characters are that forgettable. What was her freaking name? I don't know. She had red hair. It doesn't matter. So anyway, she's essentially a country bumpkin who really likes to motivate the people in her country town, which is fine. I actually thought that was really cute that they chose somebody from the country to try and compete. Well, basically, they pick up this girl from the countryside and say, okay, we're going to have you compete to see if you can become a diet member in our idol political party. And the way they decide whether or not she is qualified is to have her and a bunch of other girls run up a really, really tall hill.
Oh.
Hey, they gotta be fit, man. Haven't you seen Love Live? They gotta run up that hill all the
There's
time.
a difference. In Love Live, they were running up hills to train their bodies to be able to, work out and do for all the crap that I give you about Love Live. It was a solid show. It wasn't trying to do anything major, but everything that those girls did, there was a reason for it. Whether they were running up shrines, whether they were, they even took an episode where some of the girls were getting overweight and tried to help them work out, because it's important for idols to maintain their bodies. Dancing and singing at the same time, those two things alone by themselves are hard. Being a professional dancer, hard as balls. Being a professional singer, hard as balls. Doing them at the same time? Like, idols don't get enough credit. They have very hard jobs. Performers have very hard jobs.
Do a push-up while smiling. Apparently it's really hard.
But that's just the thing. Like, for all that they're trying to show here, like, when she supposedly ran up this hill and earned her right to be in this party, they didn't even show it.
I was about to say, they cut and said, I passed.
Yeah, they didn't even show her running up the hill. They showed a bunch of girls falling over and her continuing to try to push through the pain and then cut. And it's like, I'm in the party now.
Okay.
And they also have an interview with her, and they ask her if she knows who the current political members are in basically Japan's government. And her response is, we don't have a president? ?
No, dog, she doesn't know anything.
She doesn't know shit about the government. And now she's a member of it. And then they spend the next episode traveling around trying to help with environmental problems. So the next episode, they go and try and help somebody who's... Basically, there's this city where somebody's dumping a bunch of garbage into the environment and making, environmental pollution. It's bad. It's something that we deal with every day. So it's like, oh, okay, so how are they going to handle this? And for some reason, it becomes less about that and more about trying to get the other idol political party to work with them, which, of course, they decide by bungee jumping.
Okay.
And so apparently all of the best idols have been able to jump from this really steep cliff. So...
What?
Extreme.
So...
They are the essence of it.
So then the main girl, of course, being Genki as can be, runs, jumps, and her line snaps.
Oh, fuck.
God.
And
you are dead. Insert Dark Souls.
And she should have died.
Yeah.
Or sustained some kind of injury. But cut to the next scene, tee-hee, she fell in the river and she's fine.
Nah, dog, she's anime. She's Genki as shit. She can't die. Come on, she's the main character.
It's just, but still, they could have done something with that. Oh no, she fell and at least twisted her ankle from the fall. Oh no, she can't sing and dance with everybody now. What are we gonna do to try and improve the situation? There's so much they could have done with that. As stupid as that whole premise was, I'm gonna bungee jump to earn your respect, but okay. Oh, and of course, hey, this is my impression. Let me continue. I'm on a rant right now. So, and the other girl who's in her political party with her, and the only girl so far that we've been introduced who's actually in the same party as her, is of course the cold, unapproachable one, who in the past has been too good. So therefore, nobody wants to be around her because her aura is too suffocating, so she hurts people.
What is the aura?
Basically, like, it's just what you think, like in shows where people have like a miasma or an aura or something. Of course, the main girl has such a Genki aura that makes everyone happy, which, by the way, at the end of episode 2 and episode 3, where they try and solve problems, essentially these bad people who are like, I can dump trash wherever I want. I own this town. Or I can throw all of these cats into the ocean because I own this town.
Don't tell me they do that!
Are instantly moved because I will get to that, by the way, are instantly moved by the singing and dancing of these girls, and they immediately have a change of heart because they hear the music. But... And if anything was going to save this show, for me personally, it should have been episode 3, because that was an episode all about cats. And a town, a little island town that loves cats, and their main selling point for tourism is cats. And of course, the main antagonist in that particular area looks like a cat, which is ridiculous in and of itself. But she hates cats so much, and I may have, I kind of exaggerated there, but she takes all of them and puts them on a boat, and then just cuts the boat loose.
Sailing away.
Which, of course, but by the end of the episode, their singing and dancing not only sways the heart of the people who didn't want the cats to be there, but all of the cats come running across the ocean.
Across the ocean?
Yes, across the ocean, which cats don't like water, for one.
Anime is for jerks.
And the whole point okay, here's the other thing, and I forgave this because it's silly and it's kind of cute, but the whole point they have the cats there is they have a festival where the cats run to get to the other end of this finish line, where they have like a little cat race where no one really wins, but all the cats race down the hill and go towards all of this, and then the people wait to be smothered in an ocean of cats. Like a wave of cats, which that was kind of cute, but in reality, if you have a herd of cats, hungry cats, running at you, it's not going to be a pleasant experience. I hate to break it to you.
They have claws.
They do. They do. But the show...
They're like my cat, her claws don't fully retract.
But yeah, this show is that dumb. I just can't. I can't do it. There is nothing. The animation is pretty. The actual songs the girls sing, while not anywhere as close to as entertaining and fun as Love Live or any other idol show I've seen, because I've seen some of the performances in Idol Masters. Those are really impactful songs.
Yes, yes they are.
And for all of its faults, Love Live had some very impacting performances as well.
Snow Halation, yo. You like that song.
And Idol Master had some moments where it actually got pretty dark and
the show
heart-wrenching and like, oh no, precious babies.
Yes.
This show is not good. It's just not good. And if anything, it's not even doing a really good job at poking fun at the government, because the girls are the ones that look dumb. And I don't appreciate it. I'm going to stop ranting because we've got to, get to what other people want to say. But this is probably the worst show I have watched in a very long time. And I'm so disappointed in you, Mappa. This isn't even dumb in a fun way. It's just dumb and a waste of everyone's time. Show this to children, maybe. But even then, the children won't get the fact of all the government stuff. But... The most way that the only way, let me say, that this would be possible is if you sit a 6-year-old in front of it, because they'll probably like the pretty colors and the singing and the dancing and the hero saving the day, but this is not as intellectual as I was hoping it to be, as dumb as that sounds, that I was hoping for anything intellectual out of a show called Idol Jihen or Idol Incidents. But okay, let's move on. It's sinking into a pile of yogurt. Moving on.
Alright, after that,
Salt mine?
Salt mine? Yeah.
I am a miner by day.
Jeez, OP.
On to my second pick, which, if you probably didn't pick up on my comment at the start of this episode, this is actually a pretty good series. So, it is Demi-chan wa Kataritai, or Interviews with Monster Girls. The synopsis goes, Tetsuo Takahashi is a teacher working at Shibasaki High School and specializing in the physiological studies of demi-humans. His students include Hikari Takanashi, a vampire and lover of tomato juice, Kyoko Machi, a Dadahan, and Yuki Kusakabe, a Yuki Onna. The school also employs math teacher Saki Sato, a succubus. The synopsis doesn't really do much to sell the series, so it hasn't received a lot of attention, and I will admit it was actually pretty low on my list. It is another slice of life high school series. Just this one, it features monster girls and it's about how life is for them being monster girls, and it doesn't really sell itself very well. However, that being said, I could actually write a much better synopsis for this, and I'm gonna do that right now. Takahashi, he's a biology teacher in the school, and he's trying to write a paper about demi-humans, and by the way, demi-humans are like they are like vampires and Dudahans and all these other things. They are actually apparently they've always been a thing. It's just recently they've kind of come out as like, hey, we are actually a real thing. Hey, and the world has kind of just accepted them. But that being said, they are still few and far between in numbers. They established that there are currently only 3 Dullahans in the world. That's the only one they actually give any numbers for, but yeah, they make that one quite clear. And it's not even that their parents need to be these demi-humans themselves. They make it quite clear that all 4 of the girls actually have regular human parents. It's sort of like a genetic mutation that just sometimes happens that causes them to become these different beings. Anyway, he's been trying to write a paper on demi-humans, but he's wants to get some first-hand interviews with some of these demi-humans, but because he is just a lowly biology teacher and not any high-ranking professor, he constantly gets turned down for any interviews, and it's just a struggle when suddenly these 3 girls enroll at the start of the new high school year, and also there's suddenly this new teacher on the payroll who it happens to be succubus, and he's like, fuck,
how convenient.
I've gone through all this trouble, and suddenly 4 just show up out of nowhere. Found my life.
Shouldn't he be happy about it?
I mean, he's ecstatic about it, but he's just like, all that effort I've done has just been completely in vain because there's just suddenly here out of nowhere. But yeah,
or maybe a demigod finally smiled upon him and said, "Hey, bitch, I can hook you up."
I was about to say, so Kane, the guy, shows up and brings an IBM Ajins.
I don't think this is that kind of show, Craig.
Lol.
Since Saki Sato, the teacher, introduces herself as a succubus, she's obviously the one he first tries to approach for an interview, but being a succubus, she's actually goes above and beyond and out of her way to avoid contact, like physical contact especially with the opposite sex, and it spent as little time with the other teachers as she can get away with, and kind of takes it the wrong way and thinks that he's only interested in her because he is only interested in her because she's a succubus, but not for the reasons that she thought. So she's like, yeah, no fuck, and runs off and avoids him entirely. And he's like, yeah, I could have been a little bit more tactful with trying to ask, and fuck, I fucked that up. But that's when he ends up running into Dolahan, the first one that is obviously a demi-human, because she's carrying her head around in her arms, and there's fire spewing out of her neck where her head should be. Hikari introduces herself to him as a vampire, and Hikari ends up being the first one that he actually interviews. And this first interview kind of makes it clear that it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Much like as in real life, if someone is different, they do get outcast. They do, whether people mean to or not. They quickly establish that for Machi, they show a conversation with her. Machi is the Dylan. They show her having a conversation with two classmates, and the two classmates are trying their best to keep her in on the conversation, but you can also clearly see that they're stepping on eggshells around the very subject of that she is a Dylan. She's carrying her head around, and they're doing their best to avoid any subject, and you can see it in Machi's face that she's like, you can talk about it. I'm not going to be offended.
Are these girls outcasts that he's interviewing? Because you said that they tiptoe around it, but they don't seem to be dealing with being completely isolated either. So,
Yuki is actively being bullied in the school.
Okay.
Is one.
Who's Yuki again? Is she the vampire?
Yuki is the Yukiana.
That makes sense.
The snow woman.
That makes sense. Snow woman being named Snow.
Yeah, yes.
In the case of Saki Sato, the teacher, she is actively secluding herself, even though she's become a teacher and she enjoys her teaching job. She's also actively lives way the fuck out nowhere, and has a long journey to the school, and again she goes above and beyond to avoid physical contact with anyone.
Yeah, I remember you mentioned
because
that.
and while Hikari herself for the most part portrays this bubbly persona, there's hints that there's more to it than that. They haven't really gone too much into that. Her interviews so far have been more about
well, I do have to ask before, because it sounds like you're probably going to swim this with flying colors. But you've talked a lot about the story and what goes on in it, which does sound very interesting, and a lot seems to be going on. But how is the presentation? Is the animation good? Is the music good?
Yeah.
I do appreciate you gushing so much about what makes the story good, but we gotta know, is the whole package good so far?
The series is by the animation studio is A1 Pictures.
Oh, well, there you go. All that needs to be said. I'm joking. Keep going.
They have done Gate, Idolmaster, the animes for the Persona games. Not the actual animation in the Persona games, but like the anime Persona 4 TV series, the Persona 3 OVAs. They can get a good budget behind them, and they are consistently good quality animations. They are more than willing to touch on darker subjects, and there's a lot of promise behind them. And so far it's been living up to that.
Nice.
I do have one question, because I feel like we do need to move on at some point.
Yeah.
But there is one thing about this show, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, because I haven't watched it myself. Does one of the high school girls, go on a date with her teacher?
I've seen that.
And that makes me a
yes.
little uncomfortable.
Yep.
Yeah, that is a bit there. The teacher doesn't realize it's a date.
Okay, that makes it a little bit better.
She is actually...
It's the Dullahan, right?
It's the Dullahan. It was actually Hikari's idea. Machi confesses to Hikari that she has that through having her first interview with the teacher, that she kind of developed a little bit of a crush on him. And so Hikari, being a little bit of a prankster actually, kind of like, I got you fam, I'm gonna set you up. And arranges for this date with the teacher on the premises that it's an experiment, so that Machi can figure out what kind of issues she might run into as a Dullahan for when she goes on dates with guys, because she's getting to that age. And to keep the experiment interesting, the teacher will go on a date with Machi's head, while Machi's body stays at Hikari's place with her, and hijinks ensues.
Okay. Well, we don't need the whole synopsis or how it ends, really. I just wanted to see if that was a thing. Because I'd also seen, like, for example, images on Tumblr of, like, the vampire girl kissing him on the cheek or whatever. And I'm just like, all of this sounds really interesting, but is this going to be that show that always constantly has undertones of very underage girls going after a older teacher? Because like, for example, there's another show that's airing this season, which I believe Cammy will be able to talk about, not this episode, but it's an episode in the future, where there are students that have crushes on their teachers, but they're closer in age, though, so that doesn't creep me out as much. Like, one of them, like, they literally grew up together, and the other one, she's a new music teacher, so they're still similarly close in age. They're very young teachers, whereas from what I can see from this guy, he looks like he's at least in his 30s. So does that creep you out at all? Do you get that feeling, or is it just something that's like not consistent? Because that's the only thing so far that's making me wonder if I'm going to be super into this show, because I love everything else you've said about it, to be completely honest. Sell me.
Machi outright says that she's got a crush on him. Hikari has moments where it's like, is that a moment of jealousy there? With Hikari kissing him on the cheek, it's actually because he kind of teases her about biting. She kind of lets on that bite where she gets a supply of blood from the government, a regular supply of blood from the government, so she doesn't need to bite. It therefore has kind of become an intimate thing. And so she ends up like, okay, I'm getting super embarrassed by this conversation now. I know he's not meaning to to it, but he's kind of teasing me. I need to get him back some way.
So regardless of, like, the reason why, I want to know, is it something you're comfortable with, or is it not, like, intruding on your enjoyment of the show?
Exactly. Like, so, like, for example, earlier, Cami made a comment about Masamune-kun where the mother looks like she's freaking 10, but that doesn't, but, and we all roll our eyes and go, anime, wow, but at the same time, she doesn't appear very often, or it doesn't make enough of an impact that it's, like, uncomfortable. Like, is that going to turn people off, or can you say yes or no without really, because we do need to move on. But do you think that's something that's going to distract from the show for people? Is it uncomfortable? Is it something that you think is going to possibly drag the show down later on for people who, for example, maybe newcomers to anime and aren't used to the eye roll?
It's not bothering me because I'm seeing it as, they are young, impressionable girls who are just getting to that age, and here's a guy who's actually showing respect, that he's, like, aware of their, of the fact that they're demi-humans, and has so far been portrayed as the only one that's really treated them with the right amount of respect.
Got it.
And been able to get this close to them. Yeah. And therefore, I can see where the attraction would come from. It kind of makes sense, but it's also very much one-sided.
Yeah, okay.
And
cool.
He's not showing any romantic interest in them. He's just showing interest in them because
He's going to show it
they're his students.
Yeah. Go for the succubus, man. She's a page.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Indeed.
Yeah, his interests in them are, they're his students who happen to be demi-humans. And
right.
I'm trying to write a paper on demi-humans.
Right. Okay.
Also,
episode 3 focuses on Sato, the teacher, and she is surprisingly adorable.
That's cool.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay, that's fine then. I was just wondering, because that's the one thing that for me made me roll my eyes when I, for example, saw the images and saw the discussion. And,
yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to lie, it is still kind of creepy that he'd volunteer to go alone with a student, whether he knew it was a date or not. But at the same time, if it's under the pretense of it being an interview, that makes way more sense. So
yeah, and it's also under the pretense of trying to make sure that her life runs that little bit smoother for the event that she does find someone she likes and goes on a date with that person, even though he's completely unaware that he is said person.
Okay, I gotcha. So, sink or swim?
It very much swims for me.
Okay, yay! Cool beans. And we will, that being said, it's going to go on our list, so more of us will watch it because we have to now. So, we'll revisit all of these questions later. Sorry to cut you off, John. We do got to move on. Right. I know you love this show, and there's got to be a reason.
I was gushing, I will admit, so.
All right, Cammy, let's see if we can keep this happy train going.
Yes, okay. Well, and I got a little bit of a breather for you of a synopsis, so I'll just jump right into it. That this is Showa Genroku Rakugo Futatabi-hen, or Showa Genroku Rakugo Descending Stories. This is the sequel to Showa Genroku Rakugo Shinjuu that aired, I believe it was actually last winter. So our synopsis says, Yotaro is a former Yakuza member, fresh out of prison and fixated on just one thing. Rather than return to a life of crime, the young man aspires to take the stage of Rakugo, a traditional Japanese form of comedic storytelling, inspired during his incarceration by the performance of distinguished practitioner Yakumo Yurakute. He sets his mind on meeting the man who changed his life. After hearing Yotaro's desperate appeal for his mentorship, Yakumo is left with no choice but to accept his very first apprentice. As he eagerly begins his training, Yotaro meets Konatsu, an abrasive young woman who's been under Yakumo's care ever since her beloved father, Sukeroku, another prolific Rakugo performer, passed away. Through her hidden passion, Yotaro is drawn to Sukeroku's unique style of Rakugo, despite learning under contrasting techniques. Old memories and feelings return to Yakumo, who reminisces about a much earlier time when he made a promise with his greatest rival. Showa Genroku Rakugo is a story set in both the past and present, depicting the art of Rakugo, the relationships it creates, and the lives and hearts of those dedicated to keeping the unique form of storytelling alive. So, the first season took place in the past, where we got to see the memories of Yakumo as he grew up, and now we are set back into, it's still not exactly modern day, but closer to our modern day, and we're focused on Yotaro, the Yakuza member, again, and now he is ascended to be the best Rakugo performer, supposedly. Yakumo is really old, and so there's a lot of really lingering, like, angst and depression. There's worry that Yakumo is going to die and he's going to take the art of Rakugo with him. And then you have Yotaro, who's here saying, no, I still care about Rakugo. I want it to live on. I want to reinvent it. And how do I save this dying art form? And you're just surrounded by the cast of people that are really, really involved in the art form, whether they were like raised by performers like Konatsu was, or they fell into it like Yotaro and Yakumo. This is a very, very dramatic story, very like down to earth, very somber. Season 2 is just as high quality as Season 1, and Season 1, if you tuned into our last episode, I praised very much for its beautiful storytelling and really, really awesome voice acting. You're getting a lot of the same thing here. You're just getting a fresh lens on the story's continuation. So, it's also by Studio Dean, who has done Hetalia. Yes, they've done Hetalia Axis Powers in the past. They also did Konosuba, whose sequel season Cassie will also be doing an impression on. So that's good. Yeah. Cool thing about Studio Dean, honestly, is that they, like, way back when they were doing work like Fate Stay Night 2006, they kind of had a pretty steady decline, I think maybe after like Hetalia. And now they've been on the upswing in the past few years. So that's something that's really cool to see. And I think for as such a unique story that Rakugo provides, it's really cool to see it not just being done by one of the main, like, frontlining studios. So I appreciate that a lot. And I won't obviously make everyone else watch it because I watched the first season, but it totally swims because it's just been good throughout.
Well, if it's swimming, I will go watch Season 1 so we can actually have a legit review of it later on.
If you want to, go ahead.
Well, we kind of need to, because I don't know if I described this earlier on, but if somebody passes something, at least one other person here needs to watch it. And I've been intrigued about this anyway. I actually, there's another podcast I listened to who made a comment that the last episode, I believe, of Season 1 was one of the best episodes of anime he's ever seen. And from there on, I was very interested, and then I know you sang its praises, so I'll go back and watch it. We'll make it so we can do an actual review of it, and maybe, I don't know, this might be up one of the boys' paths as well, but I look forward to it.
That'd be cool. That'd definitely be cool. And it's got a lot of controversy to talk about because a lot of people really liked the last episode. I was not a fan of the ending at all. So it's fun to just discuss why, because I mean, there's weight to why I didn't like it, and it's because it did things really well, but it like just it's a really good show, and you guys should definitely stay tuned if we review it. So
we will. It's on the list now. You swimmed it. You can't take it back now.
Okay.
You can't drown something that you gave hope. That's just cruel.
That's what they're doing to me by pretty much presenting that this guy is gonna die. It's real sad, man.
I feel like you got all of the emotionally gripping animes of the season.
Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah, Maid Dragon is so sad.
Hey man, I'm not talking about you know what I'm talking about, girl.
Yes.
Maid Dragon.
I feel like you needed Maid Dragon. I'm actually really happy that the dice roll gave you that to deal with everything else you have to deal with this season.
The dice roll, aka your saintlyhood as a producer-san.
Actually, listen, so I'm gonna spoil it a bit. Kami also has Kuzu no Hankai, which I alluded to earlier. And Kuzu no Hankai was one where me and you actually had it in the exact same spot. and I did a dice roll and you won, so you got it. So I'm really happy that you got Maid Dragon to help you, because we'll talk more about both of those shows, Maid Dragon and Kuzu no Hankai, on another episode that is yet to be determined. But
Stay tuned.
But I'm actually happy that a lot of people got a mix of shows this season. A lot of different stuff is happening this season. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, because a lot of the things I've personally had to see have not been the best, but I'm happy that there are at least a couple of gems, and I'm going to go and open up some Demi-chan probably once this podcast is over.
I'm going to get drunk and watch episode 3 of Idol Jihen.
Oh my god, you have to tell me what both of you think. Please.
All right.
Please.
Will do.
That being said, host, do you want to take us out of here?
So, previously stated, you can find us on the Twitter. This will also be posted to YouTube, where we will share the link to said video, and on said social medias on Facebooks and the Twitter, twitter.com/anychatbox. Email if you want to send us comments, complaints, suggestions, talk about how much of a cinnamon roll Cammy is and how much of a gentleman Joestar is. anychatmail@gmail.com. Topics, hit us up with topic discussions. We can get stuff rolling. Also, in the pipeline, we are getting to your podcast devices in the future. Stay tuned for more information on that.
That is true. We are working on getting onto iTunes. It's just been a very fun adventure for me.
I was about to say, if I recall correctly, we have the SoundCloud up and running. We just need to finalize a few things, hammer some stuff out. So once that is done, we'll be good. Cass, what's on the agenda for next week here? According to this outline, we don't...
Well, are we doing more impressions? Yes, we're going to be looking forward to some more impressions next week, so tune in. We will also be moving... I know we mentioned last time we were going to try and work on a review of ReZero that has been since postponed, but we will be approaching it on a later episode. The next few will be focused on our impressions of this season, and we'll get back to the stuff that you know and love.
Yes. All right. Oyasumi nasai!
Later, people!
Bye-bye!